sure Larry Wasik will join us momentarily, so we'll get kind of some of the perfunctory stuff out of the way. We're going to do the fair next with Mr. Walcott, and then following the fair, we're going to plug in planning and building services and economic development so that Mr. Anderson can attend the planning commission this afternoon. So, Mr. Walcott, good morning, sir.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Good. I don't know where to start, but I'll just start with a couple years ago when we lost some state funding. Since that time, we have cut back the budget with 2 full-time employees gone. It's actually put a little bit more burden on myself, trying to work with part-time employees out on the grounds, plus doing my other job. I think that I've tried to do the best job I can as far as cutting the budget. This year, there's a couple things that we've cut even more, is basically our part-time workers. I had budgeted $39,000 last year, and I cut that down to $30,000 to help with the budget a little bit. Every year is a little different with our maintenance of equipment and stuff. Last year we spent quite a bit of money on one of our major tractors, actually pretty much both tractors, which cost us about $3,000, $4,000 to get all that done with labor and the parts. I don't know where else I can actually cut. I think we do a pretty good job with what we have, but some of the burdensome on me is actually whenever we have a project or somebody on the grounds on a weekend, I don't put another employee in there. It's always me. Even when I had a full-time employee, I always tried to do it myself because we wouldn't have to pay for a 2-hour minimum wage for somebody to go down there and do it. So there's a lot of things that I've tried to do to be less cumbersome on the county. I try to do as much of the work as I can, but it's a tough job to get everything done, starting in April and basically after the migrant workers leave in November. So, like I say, I think I've done as much cutting as I can. I appreciate Julie helping me out a little bit with this, and Karen, and trying to get things done. Again, I can't bet on any kind of funding from the state right now, even though there are some talks about that, which we may know something in November or February like we did last year. But that all depends on Secretary Ross and how she wants to disperse money, if she wants to. So last year we did get a $39,000 cut from some of the money that she had confiscated from F&E. So I don't know if you have any other questions for me. I mean, I don't know what else.
$39,000 to take care of the 36.
Yeah.
Board members have any questions or comments?
Well, just look at it.
Manager.
The 36,000 that you short.
And that includes the 82,000.
Yeah, 84.
Yeah, budgeted 80.
82,668.
Yeah, right, 84.
I mean, you're getting 86,000 general fund money already, and now you need another 36,000?
82.
The contribution from the general fund that's in there is what the Board of Supervisors supported the fair to the extent of last year.
And that's 82,000.
Yes.
84 something, I think.
82,688.
Yeah.
82,688. So on top of that, you're asking for another 36,000.
Correct. That's, I mean, I don't.
Short 36.
What's that? I'm short 36, yeah.
We're short 36 after giving you 82.
That's
Where's the 86 going to come from? Yeah, 36 going to come from.
Well, there's a one-time money I still have in there for $9,800, which is a line item on the professional services. At one time, we were told that we were going to have to do I'm sorry, can you help me out? We're going to have to do audits from the state. It was mandatory audits from the fairs. And so I put that money in there last year, and they went from 2-year to 3-year. But without funding again, I don't think we can, I don't know if we're going to need it or not. My deal is that I left it in there in case we needed it to be able to get more funds. But as things are now, that's another $10,000, $8,900 or $9,800, excuse me.
Right.
Yeah, that we could, put towards that, and that's another almost $10,000.
How about we just shift that to, or reduce that amount, and if that becomes an issue later on, like say.
We can
you
address
have
it,
to-
we can augment it.
We can always come back with an augmentation or some sort of a supplemental appropriation, but rather than trying to bet they will or will not do that, I think that just aggravates your problem, so.
Right. That's more of a performance audit. The fair is included in the countywide
Correct.
audit annually.
Yeah, this is a performance audit he's talking about, but,
Correct.
if they're able to generate, by doing the performance audit, and they're gonna get some sort of money, for the program, then it's worth doing, but it doesn't make sense to spend $9,800 and not get anything.
Well, it's just a line item, I just have it a line item, but,
Jim, on their, you have miscellaneous non-fair programs, fiscal year 12,012 and 2013, you had 87,000, you only have 27,000 budgeted. What is that non-fair program?
On the revenue side.
oh,
On
okay.
revenues.
Oh, last thing I need to look over here. Miscellaneous fair, non-programs, that would be like, our Bluegrass Festival,
Other events that you hold.
other events, the quarter horse show, the craft fair, some of that kind of stuff.
Is you're not gonna hold as much this year, or you're just being conservative on your estimated income?
Yeah, correct.
Or there's-
On the quarter horse show, we actually made some money. The Bluegrass Festival, we had a little deficit there.
That was due to kind of a communication error.
Yeah, that was basically, right now, in fact, we've already figured out what we're doing on that. We're gonna go back to a 3-day, go back to 10 bands. We're raising some prices, and I basically told the promoter that helps us that this is what we have to do. It's been 4 years, we've made money a couple times. Last year, we lost a little bit of money, and I
Well,
can't do that.
he changed the format and the.
He
pricing.
changed the format, and the pricing was the same,
Same.
and it was something that was already done beforehand. So we've had 3 different phone calls and talked face-to-face since that time. And
Yeah.
it's an event that can do well for us, but didn't get managed right the last year, and that was part my fault. It won't happen again.
I think a lot of it was just a misunderstanding
Yeah.
and lack of communication, but I think you figured that out, so if you did it again, then it'd be a different story.
Correct.
You don't wanna do it that way.
Focusing on that revenue item again, I appreciate Supervisor Albo's question. It appears as though last year was 87,000, the previous year, and of course, we only had 2 years, 2 years in front of us, and I can't recall anything previous to that, but you had 24,087 and then down to 27. Did we do something last year that pushed that up?
That
Substantially.
87,000?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see the 87,000 on mine, I'm sorry.
That would be the actuals for 12-13.
For non-fair, miscellaneous non-fair programs.
Again, the same line item we were looking at. Just 12-13 had 87,000, and of course Aaron was questioning the 27.
This is expenditures.
Oh, you're talking about
It's
revenue?
possible
Revenue,
that
yeah, we're revenue.
I'm sorry.
on fair attractions, the prior year was higher, so it's possible that it's just with Jim's change of staff where they coded the deposits to, because it looks like the year before, fair attractions was 104. So if I was looking for
Oh, I
where
see.
things may have changed, that would be my guess.
Well, yeah, on the fair attractions, it just depends. A lot of that is actually what we bring in on the grandstands, missions. Actually, I think missions is up on top. That's just what we spend on ground entertainment, or what we get, off of the grandstands, that deal.
Again, this is miscellaneous non-fair programs.
Okay, I'm looking at transactions, I'm sorry.
It jumps from 24,000 to
Oh, okay.
87.
That's the bluegrass. That's mostly the bluegrass. We went from $24,000.
I see, so that's what we've been referring to.
Correct, okay, the 27,000 is what, I kept it the same, and that's the kind of revenue we're coming in. So, We went from $24,000 up on to $27,000.
What's the 87?
87,000.
What's that?
What's the
87? On actual, if you go to the third column in the middle column,
I don't know if he's looking at what we're looking at.
I just got the revenue off the budget that I have.
It is non-fair. Okay, your actual is different. You got the budget. What actually came in for non-fair was 87.
that's what we're showing in our
Oh, we probably moved some stuff around like Julie was saying, I'm sorry, I can look into that for you, but.
It's a $60,000 variance, so.
both ways, both before and
Yeah.
after. And I think that's what Aaron was
You went
asking.
60,000 and dropped 60,000.
That's what Aaron was
happened
asking.
Because you don't have the actuals, you only have the budget.
Mhm.
in like Bob said.
Oh, 1213. This is the actual here?
Correct.
Okay, that would have been the fire.
Oh, right.
Oh,
That would be the
that's the
50
explanation.
That's the fire.
That's the explanation.
Fire-
That's right,
fire-
brush fire, right.
Yes, that's where we put that under
Yeah.
miscellaneous,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. The fire. When they mobilized, we were out in Schaefer and then they came in.
Right, correct, that's what the difference is there,
Yeah.
okay. I get it.
Thank you.
But
That was.
we know about the 27, we don't know if we're gonna have another fire.
Correct.
No, I understand, we understand that budget. I was
That's
wondering
not
about
budget
blue.
for fire.
No,
No.
Okay, that explains it, thank you
I
very
mean,
much.
kind of aggressive.
I'm sorry, I
Too
didn't.
aggressive for my liking.
That's fine.
One in for next time.
Jim, what was the, I know you guys have done some numbers and the amount of money that comes in to the fair and to the community?
Oh my gosh, well, we haven't had one from F&E since 2009, but.
I know when you were kind of lobbying the state there was.
The fair actually creates supposedly through the monies and the people that coming in during the fair time, or during the whole year, is actually 33 jobs it creates in the community. Is the fair, as of 2009. Now, 2009 was our best year we've had since I've been here. And of course, you know, we all know what's happened since then. But, so it brings, I can't remember off the top of my head everything. I don't have that with me, but I do have the packet still with me that I use. I talked to the city about it actually one time.
I know it was in the, a couple, 2, 3, 4, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
we generate a lot. I mean, you know, every time we have even a little pygmy goat show, I mean, it brings in 20 people from outside the area that don't all stay on grounds. 90% of them go out to the hotels and eat out there. And we're also having the Golden Wing Association back in Labor Day again, so.
They were.
And one of their things was, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, one of the things was that we were gonna supply a dinner for them through our board and also a breakfast. And they came back saying, no, we don't want you guys doing breakfast, we want our guys to go out in the community and spend money. So that was a great thing that, you know, they're recognizing that they need to contribute to the town too, so.
The reason why I ask is because, really, it's sort of not fair, or, I mean, you're on you, or, what I'm trying to say is there's that extra, you show all the revenue, like the fair, just on its own brings in, just short of $500,000, if you take out that 82,000. But also, with the occupancy, transient tax and sales tax, if the fair is bringing in, $2 million or whatever, I mean, if you multiply that out, that the county is gonna get that without the fair, otherwise wouldn't get,
Right.
that would have to come straight off that 82. So, it's not really, it's not really like the county is subsidizing, 82, because it's,
Let's get some of that back.
yeah, I mean, and if you.
And we all know that, I think that basically
Yeah,
the city
so-
sees most of
Yeah,
that.
the city's-
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to explain to them.
But
It would be nice if we could get them to maybe, if we're trying to close this 36,000, if you take the 9,000 and something out, I mean, that's for that
25.
performance out of that puts us down around 25,000 if we could get the city
But I
to
think, yeah.
contribute, because Their sales tax revenue is definitely
And TOT, as you
enhanced.
said.
Yeah, the TOT and sales tax revenue is enhanced by this activity.
Right, but I think it's important, you know, these times when everybody's
ask them.
trying to, you know.
When you're saying it's correct, it's not gonna happen.
Well, and we still have to address it
But I-
here in the budget process.
But a little bit of emphasis should be put on that, like studies on, you know, the revenue it brings in. And I know you had some stuff, because I remember you gave it to the state
Mhm.
when you were trying to lobby for the.
Right. Well, I tried to get CFF and you, or actually the California Department of Food and Ag put that out, and they're not doing those studies anymore. So, but
But in any
I,
case, maybe going forward, you know, so that could be part
Mhm.
of the fair's information, as a little bit of data on the income from the previous year. And with an estimation of what the city and county, financial gain.
But where does the fireworks, for July 4th, because I know we put some money in for the fireworks and so does the city, and not a huge amount.
It's
but
budgeted in non-departmental.
Is it non-departmental, so it doesn't show up in any of these line items here for the
It,
fair?
it should come as a transfer.
we did not transfer this year.
We didn't?
No.
How was the fireworks paid for then? Out of the non-departmental or out of the fair?
Well, we had sponsors that take care of almost half. Now, that's what we had before. Right now, the city hasn't paid, and the county didn't do it. I wasn't even thinking when I did the budget to take that, out, because you guys are already giving me money for the fair, so how could I request $3,500 for, that? So,
So the city didn't contribute to the fireworks this year?
not as of now. We just sent them an invoice, we'll see what happens. But And their contribute from that has gone down over the years too. So, I think when I first got here, it was, I think it was the same as what the county was at, to go back and look.
Because originally it was like 5,000 from each for $10,000, and the reason why the fireworks at the fairgrounds was even put in as a item is they want to encourage people not to have their own individual. So we banned fireworks in the county as a whole. So the idea is go down to the fairgrounds and do your fireworks there with the show that's paid for. And the city was trying to do the same. A lot of them would like to, the fire department, others would like to see it be banned in the city. And that was the motivation. But there's about 4 or 5 groups, that's their prime fundraising for like soccer, and they have their trailers around and they sell, I guess it's really a big business, and so everybody goes and watches the fireworks at the fairgrounds, and then they go all over town, out in the streets and stuff, and a lot of them would even clean up after.
Well, until 2009, they were doing it on property.
They were doing it on the fairgrounds property
yeah.
too?
And it was after that year that I had a couple incidents and couldn't get police help because they were all outside.
Well, yeah, because you have
We stopped
the
it. I just-
Safeway parking lot.
Well, we didn't have any
It looks like-
insurance.
It looks like a war zone when it's done, with everybody setting off their fireworks, and, so anyway, so that's, so there's a fair amount of, we were talking about a couple $100,000 worth of fireworks get sold and used, just here inside the city area.
So I think we should follow up with, do some sort of agreement that we actually get it, put it on the agenda and pass, and we try and get the city to do the same, where we come up with X amount, even
Well,
if it's
yeah,
5,000. And
it
so-
sounds like it's kind of breaking down, but it goes back to the mid-70s is when the joint fireworks at the fairgrounds was put in place.
But we should try and formalize it and create an ongoing to fund the
So
fireworks.
how much of the county money actually went to the fireworks?
None this year, he said.
Well, a year, it helped. The 84,000 or the 82, whatever it is.
Okay, some money came out of that for the fireworks.
Right.
It just went into our general fund, yes, correct.
We have no idea how much that was.
I could look it up and see.
2,000, 3,000?
Yeah.
I probably put the line on it back in. It's 3,500 what you've been given, but when I did my budget, I didn't put that in as not being there. So we made some of it up with, I had some increase in some major sponsors that stepped up and gave me a little bit more, and for a little bit more I gave them as far as
If we didn't spend money on fireworks this year, that would come out of the 37,000 you're short.
correct.
We want to start cutting that 37,000, we want to bring that to zero.
Right.
Right.
Fireworks would be one thing. plus another
Because we spent
$34,000.
$7,000 on fireworks,
How much?
7,000.
7,000.
Part of which was paid for by the sponsors, is that correct?
About half, he said.
Yeah, so,
So there's probably about $3,000 then.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is, we need to put another 37,000 in to make your
that's
budget
correct.
balance.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have it. We're $2.5 million deficit right now.
Right.
We have to cut that out somewhere between now and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's time reality starts hitting this 5 of us.
That's right. No, that's just one of the items on the list. That's one of the-
I mean, as far as fireworks show, yeah, I've got to look at it.
And-
We go at $3,000.
One of the realities that this community has to accept.
Right.
We don't have all this money.
Well, yeah, you're going through the same kind of stuff I am, basically. You know, I mean, I don't know how to put this, but I'm just going to lay it out there. I've tried my hardest to do what I can do down there.
I know you have, Jim. You've done a terrific
And-
job getting your budget down.
I love doing this job, but it's trying like anybody else's job here. It's very trying these years, and I understand trying to balance a budget. I can't balance it. All I can do is get rid of part-time people, and the fair is what it is. And we'll kind of, we can kind of go back to where it was when I got there. I mean, I had a lot of help, believe me, and you guys have helped a lot because you understand what goes on down there, and I appreciate that. But reality is, I tried. It's hard to bring new stuff here. We're not on I-5 where promoters actually go down there and say, hey, we want to use your facility, here's 20 grand. The same facility we have down in Red Bluff and Shasta gets $1,800 for a Jensen home. I get $325, and people complain about it. The reality is we're in a small community, and redoing the quarter horse show, it actually hasn't lost money for us yet. It's done a good job for it. It brings in $5,000, $6,000. That helps. Yeah, you got a lot of expenditures out, but it's helping. And we just got to fish through that until we find some things that are going to work. But it's very difficult. You know, I tried the Sportsman's Show. Lost $2,200 on it in 2009. I mean, I thought it would be a hit. It wasn't. People complain about paying $3 to get in, but they go to Reno and pay $25 to go to Cleveland. You know, that's the way it is. So, but this is bottom line. In fact, I probably, cut some. I really got to watch my part-time workers now. I mean, I really got to watch what I'm going to
You
do.
definitely got a bare bones budget.
Oh, yeah.
The DA's got a bare bones budget. I mean, these are on through every department.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a public safety. I get it. I mean, I want somebody calling 911. I want somebody to answer. I understand that. So this is, like I say, unless somebody else can come up with some other ideas, I don't know
The
if
numbers are
Aaron
there.
or anybody else.
Well, you did a good job, Jim. I'm not criticizing your
No,
job.
I didn't take it that way, Bob. I didn't take it that way.
Eileen, you have a question, please, or a comment?
A couple. The horse show declined almost half.
Yes, we're addressing that already.
What? in
That's
your
the
opinion,
4-H.
What made that happen?
The horse show is, 3 years ago, I think it was, we actually didn't have a horse show.
Okay, so it's a new,
No.
No.
We got rid of it because it was losing money.
Okay.
Well, we got a new person to take it over, it took less money to do it. The problem is people from the areas, outlying areas from Nevada that used to come in to do our open show during fair, they're not coming.
and there's a fee
So-
to go to the horse show?
Yeah, they pay to enter.
And that's the $2,700, that's
Correct.
the fee charged?
Right,
Okay,
okay.
And then-
So basically what's happened, the revenue coming in has gone down.
okay.
So we're not picking up any money. So this year we're going to a 1 day, which saves on amount of judges, and we're gonna see what happens. And I picked it back up because the board wanted to have it back up, and there's some things you wanna
Think about it.
defend and other things you just kinda let go. So basically, we have to look at that line item. So that's what we've already got in place, is to bring it down to.
My second question, and I had three, but Alan stole one of mine. The interim attractions, the revenue is also declining on that. What are interim attractions?
Well, that'd be building rental, that would be all our utility reimbursement that we charge out. The less people use their grounds, the less money that's gonna be doing.
So it's mostly rental income?
Not all of it, Eileen, a lot of it's, like I said, building, utility, quarter horse, it's the marquee sign, it's the recycle, it's Sierra Cascade, it's the building rentals and stuff.
Okay, and
Most of that is all
so
that.
I'm trying to understand the logic in your projection of the income being raised $12,000. I don't understand.
Being raised,
I mean, you anticipate the revenue to go up from 34 to 46,000. I'm just wondering where your,
That's the actual interim attractions. There was actually received last year 34,000. And you're budgeting. I think, it looks to me like the trend is that 34,000 was low. If 46,000 is reasonable, if you look at the multi-year trend.
okay, and it's on, I look at the decline and trend that out, and so, I mean, is there something, $12,000 increase in revenue, is there something new that's going to stimulate that?
well,
Money,
the
since it
migrant
is on
workers
the-
are actually, Sierra Cascade has expanded into using our facility more, which is gonna be another 10 or 12,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Walcott, obviously.
Well, I would just say,
What's
Mr.
remains
Chairman,
on the list?
as we deal with some of the bigger issues, and we can sit here and maybe, fuss over $3,500 for fireworks, and the county is bankrupt and upside down, and we're $2.5 million in a hole. That's what's suggested by what the various requests are. But we have bigger issues. You know, do we want to continue to subsidize the operation of the juvenile hall at the expense of $980,000 a year? Or by closing that, you know, we take those out, resources, and reallocate them to things that maybe are other beneficial needs to the community. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see the $9,800 that you have identified in there for that performance audit stricken, which really drops your problem from 36,000
I
down
would
to
agree
around
on that.
27,000. But when push comes to shove, as we try to, fund things like our pool commitment and those other things, that I'm determined that we come up with the $27,000 augmentation to the 82,000, because I think this board said a couple years ago when the state funding went away that we will work hard to make the fair be a functional, viable entity in the community. I think Mr. Walcott has delivered, and what he presents here is a reasonable expectation, and he's operating under somewhat in duress, and I don't think we need to exacerbate that. And so, as far as I'm concerned, with a priority that 27, 30,000, whatever it is it takes to make this work, is something that will be having to come out of the other cuts. Do we take the $2 million worth of above and beyond the $2.5 million above and beyond the penalties, interest on the dire tax payment that comes in? Do we take that money and invest it in our teeter program in terms of capitalizing that? Is that a higher priority?
Those are the kind of
Yeah,
questions.
those are the questions we're gonna have to
Exactly.
address. And
I
so
agree with you.
To go to the heart of what Bob was just suggesting, and I think in fairness, which he was here to listen to this, in fairness to the other side, is that we have already made, and some of it is historical, as Karen has pointed back, there were policy decisions and judgments that were put in place in the early 2000s and the 1990s and the 1980s, and maybe even go back beyond that, that have been institutionalized, which creates for us, you might say, the straitjacket that we're living in.
This is the time to look at it.
Exactly, and this is the purpose. I know Bob is annoyed that we're listening to a lot of trivial stuff, and that's true, we are, but in that trivial stuff, we find where those straitjacket ties are at, and what we as a board need to do is to release some of those straitjackets that's got us bound, and give us the opportunity to reallocate that. And I can tell you right now, if it's a choice of do I continue to subsidize at the tune of $1 million the juvenile hall